To piggyback off of the last message that I posted about lifespans and modern medicine and the trickery around that. So here in America, they say that the average lifespan is anywhere from 65 to 85 years. And people would attribute that to the scripture in Genesis 6, 1 through 8, about the sons of God, also known as the Nephilim, that provoked wickedness and onto humanity, So the lifespan was reduced to 120 years. Even still, 120 years. We are falling short of that 120. Well, not me, but people in general are falling short from 120 years, which is supposed to have been the curse to plague mankind, to only now about 65 to 85 years. So scientifically, that is the shortening of the telomeres, and the telomeres are these endings within our DNA that pretty much can shorten or lengthen our lifespan. So the telomeres are getting shorter as mankind is progressing. But how is it progressing when the lifespan is reducing? It's because of modern medicine. Modern medicine is modern magic, and it's steeped in the ancient practice of pharmakia, and that is medical sorcery or either herbal sorcery. And this is found in our pharmaceuticals. So the keyword pharma there, pharmaceuticals, pharmacy, physician, all of that. These are magical practices, okay? You can learn more about that in my latest book, The Bible's Hidden Divination and Magic. So I mention this because if we really take a step back and examine our lifestyles and examine the spell work, the mass spell work that is projected onto the human populace and how the lifespan is reducing more and more. They say that it is since like I think the 1930s, it has increased by like 10-15 years. I don't see that. I don't see that. That's a bunch of bull. When you have people that are dying younger and younger, or they're being plagued with diseases earlier and earlier. Obesity, diabetes, all of these other types of diseases, cancer, that were not prevalent in ancient cultures. Now, people could have died from other things, mass murder, wars, childbirth, and even that was a reduction in childbirth. So I would really want people to question, what are they intaking in their bodies? What magic, what sorcery are you under? If you look at the various ingredients on the back of on the labels of your food that you're eating, that you're intaking in your body, if you go and look up the etymology of those words, you will see that they are linked to ancient gods and goddesses. Yes. Herbal sorcery, mass spell work. You look at the medicines, look up the words, and trace it back. Once again, ancient gods and goddesses. And in the scripture, going back to the scripture in Genesis 6, 1 through 8, and you know, there's a lot of information surrounding the Nephilim, whether they're fallen angels. And my perspective about angels and demons are very different from the variation of fractals of light, astrology, and alchemy, all of that. And some people would group the Nephilim and the sons of God, which would be, sons of God actually is Elohim, and Elohim is plural. It's they, them, okay? That could be another topic. But with the sons of God, Elohim, and the Nephilim, these are perspectives. They're not actual literal entities, although we could be grouped as fractals of light, photons, that appear to be real and have substance. This is the same thing with these entities or fractals of knowledge, photons. And with this comes with a certain amount of information. So even before the oldest person, Methuselah, I think lived to be like 600 and some years old, that should be the average. But what happened is that with these perspectives, fractals of light perspectives, okay, this information downloads that manifest into the physical world, that with this information we had a duality. But even before, you can see in the scripture that there was duality. You have the masculine and the feminine, Elohim, Yahweh. Those are both feminine and masculine, and those are variants of perspectives, which is also related to the law of duality, the opposites, yin and yang. We have to have both of them. And so this could be decoded so many different ways. But someone mentioned to me during a conversation about the fallen angels, and they brought wickedness into the world with makeup and various types of sorcery. But sorcery already existed before. It already existed before the Nephilim, the fallen angels, brought it into the world. They just made it known unto everyone, so everyone could have that knowledge. But if you look in the scriptures, it was already prevalent. It was already there. So we can't blame it on them, okay? Now you do have people that are under the influence to influence the masses, to sway the masses, as we have an election coming up. Another form of magic and divination. All right. Anyways, let me stop rambling on. You guys enjoy your day and think about, what you're intaking in your bodies, the information, even the energy, the food, everything. Everything is magic. All right. But I wanted to address something concerning my post from earlier today. Conjoining science, when I mentioned the telomeres and the shortening of telomeres over the span of human history in conjunction with sin. So in the book of Genesis and throughout the entire Bible, it makes reference to sin. And sin, as those that followed me for a while, you would know that I've explained, is an esoteric principle that is related to an ancient practice of archery. The archer would try to hit the bullseye, but when they missed the bullseye, that was considered to be sin, missing the mark. So if we take this to that scripture I had in that first post in Genesis, where the lifespan was shortened to 120 years, but over human history has been shortened, at least here in America, it's common that lifespans only last for 65 to 85 years. Crazy, right? Okay, so with that being said, scientifically, that the chromosomes in the DNA, the ends of those chromosomes shorten, called telomeres. And so with that, what happens is that the lifespan is shortened, okay? So in my mind, conjoining the science along with this sin. So what happens when a person has a goal or they have an ambition in life and they fall short of that goal? What happens? That affects them emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, or I think I said emotion, but you get what I'm saying. It affects the mind, the body, and the spirit. So when people are not living from their soul's purpose, if they're not living in their highest expression, if they constantly are missing the mark, aka sinning, what happens? It takes away their vigor for life. It shortens their lifespan. So I think that this is something else that happens with humans, is that by not living first let me back up, living according to societal norms, trying to integrate an infinite soul into the confines of social stigma and conditioning, that it takes away the soul's vigor to live here in the life, in this life, in this existence. So in exchange for living your highest purpose, that one is forced to reduce their spirit and their soul's expression to what is the common practice. Therefore, their soul is constantly missing the mark that plays out in the body that will shorten the lifespan. Because imagine living for like 200 some years and you're not living at your highest level of your soul's expression. That has to be torture. Yeah. So that's another theory that I have dancing around in my head. Let me know what you think.